What's going on? You're in the Beat Sessions. I'm your host, Mitchell Weary. It is Sunday, July 3rd, and forgive me for my absence. I had a very busy weekend with work, had to approach the channel a little different in light of that this week, but I promise lots of solid album reviews to come over the next 4 or 5 days. And I got to admit, too, this weekend was a little difficult. I took a look at the album release schedule. At the top of it was Imagine Dragons and Shinedown. Not really my thing. So needless to say, with my limited time, I knew that it was going to take a little extra effort to find something for all of us, but I did. I'm really happy I found this project, and better late than never. Let's talk about Momma and their new record, Household Name. This is the third studio album for the duo of Etta Friedman and Allegra Weingarten, and their follow-up to 2020's Two of Me, and I love the ambition on this project. They are swinging for the fences and not being shy about it, and it gives this album such a fun energy. These two have been making music for roughly 6 or 7 years together. It's their first release on polyvinyl. They want it all, and I dig that. I can respect that. I think that when anybody does something creative, they certainly have a goal in mind with what they want to do, and everybody has their own ambition as far as how they want to take it. And if you want to take it as far as these two want to take it, like I said, all the respect in the world. But what I love about this record, and I think it's really important, if you want to get there, I think that at some point you have to, it's important to be modest and respectful, but I think that there's this fine line that you have to walk where you drop that modesty and that humbleness, and you just acknowledge that you're dope, that you're the most rocking thing out there, that you're just the shit, needless to say. And that's what I'm getting from these two on this record. It feels like they are in such a place of confidence, creating art in stride. And it gives this record so much energy. It makes it so much fun to listen to, and it makes me really excited for what these two can do in the future. We've talked about a handful of projects this year so far that capture that 90s alternative sound. And what I like about all the artists that we've talked about is that they're giving all of these tracks their own personality. They're taking something that I love and that I know a lot of us love and making it their own. And I think that's really important. I think that's, it's what keeps the music from being banal. It's what keeps it alive, frankly, in my opinion. And so on this record, you're going to hear the sound of artists like Liz Phair, PJ Harvey, Veruca Salt. I hear a little bit of Nada Surf, Tripping Daisy. Think about a random 90s band like that. Hole. And it's something even a little heavier. Think of like the Breeders and the Distillers. The Distillers are pretty heavy. I don't think there's anything on this record that's quite that heavy, but you can hear the influence there, and I love it. A little bit of a shoegaze influence as well. Mazzy Star, My Bloody Valentine. Two great go-tos, and two wonderful bands that really have been. It's crazy how influential those two outfits have been in the last 30 years. But this record is a lot of fun. It's really heavy. It's very guitar-driven, more so than any of those other projects that we've talked about. So this is really appealing to me for that reason. And I even like the tracks that start off a little more mellow. They always find a way to move into some heavier territory, some just hard rockin' terrain. And so I love that about this album. It's really fun. And like I said, this thing is showing a lot of potential for these two. And I'm excited for the future of this band. This thing kicks off with a rip-off. This song, I love the percussion in the intro. It's pretty unique. There's a couple different things that come together to kick this thing off. But then there's this just dope alternative rock riff that comes in, and then this thing becomes slightly shoegazy, and I love how it evolves and gets kind of heavy. It's got a lovely melody that it's working with, and I dig that about this band. They talk about it too, that the hooks, the melodies, they're important, and I'm that way too. I mean, there's a lot of musicians out there that, depending on what your ambitions and your goals are, they're not looking for that necessarily, but I'm a big believer in good, catchy music. I like it more often than not, and I like that this band is aiming for that because they're killing it. They're not writing hooks that are just cheesy and lame either. I mean, they're really coming up with special melodies that are fun to sing along to. They get in your head. They just infect your soul. This is a great project. Speeding 72 is your second song. Car noises to kick off the intro on this thing for just a moment, but then you got another great rocker. And I like the guitar riff on this thing, channeling a band like the Cars. And I'm going to go over it too. All these different tracks, there's different bands, different influences at play here amongst all those other major ones that I mentioned. Medicine is your third track, quirky 90s alternative rock. Here you get kind of a feel of like Pavement, or like Tripping Daisy, but it's another song with just a great hook and a great melody. Rockstar is your fourth track. I dig this song a lot. This is probably one of my favorites. I love the big guitars to open. I like the way that it backs off and you just get this vocal and acoustic element, and then it just builds back into this big rocker. Fun song. Love the lyrics, and the lyrics are focused on the ambition. Like That's where we want to be. That's where we want to get to. We want to be on that stage in front of 20, 30, 50,000 people. I mean, who wouldn't want that? I mean, I can't imagine how awesome it would be. I hope they get it. Motorbike is your 5th song. Nothing complicated here. I just really like this is just a good, catchy rock and roll song. Super fun. It's going to lead into Tall Home, which will close out our A side. This is, I like this track. You get a slightly different feel than a lot of the other music. And I think that this song actually is it has more of a feel of what you're going to get on the B side of this record. But it's moody. You get these great arpeggiated riffs. And a band like Pinback is what I hear. And if you're not familiar with them, really cool. I love their bass player. He reminds me a lot of Peter Hook in the way that he plays his bass like a guitar. It's got a really cool style. But this thing, and it gets rocking too, just like all the tracks on this thing. So I love the movement of that song as well. And then it's going to lead into your B-side opener, Lucky. This is a great song as well. I like the way that it works in and out of these shoegazy verses and into this like rockin' chorus. It has this Smashing Pumpkins feel. It really reminds me of what they were doing on their early records, especially as well. I really think of it's like, sounded like the mellow stuff on Gish is what this song reminds me of. Brave is your 8th song. We cannot skip that. Brave is going to maintain that chill Smashing Pumpkins feel. Think of, the mellow stuff on Gish. Think of the mellow stuff on Cherub Rock. And I love the feel of those particular tracks. Callin' Me is your 9th song. It's just right into it with the drums. I really like the light verse and the rockin' chorus. You get that balance there as well. Spider is your 10th song. Solid guitar work here and just a great hook, great melody. This I will say too that if I have one criticism of this record, I think even at 45 minutes, it's got a pretty just solid runtime. But I think he could have maybe axed 1 or 2 of these tracks. Not that they're bad tracks, but I think that towards the end of this thing, it starts to kind of run together a little bit. And these songs are spectacular. Spider, No Stage is your penultimate track. We're talking about Call Me. I think that honestly, you could have saved any one of these tracks for maybe a later project or an EP or something. Maybe just a special, limited edition on the vinyl release. But me, I like to have a little bit of balance, and I do feel like that towards the end of this thing, some of these songs started to blend together a little bit. But I do love No Stage. Penultimate track is just, it's got all that good feel that you're getting on this record. I like that in a penultimate track. I like when the song can capture a little bit of everything that has happened that's come before it. And I feel like No Stage is really done a fine job of doing that. And then it's going to give you your final song, No Bite. It's a funny title when you consider the mellow nature of this track. But this is a great project. Another band that really is just working with the style that I grew up with, that I love so much. This is a project that I love that balance of nostalgia while getting something new and navigating that new terrain, and you're getting that exactly on this record. It is a vinyl please for that reason. I hope you enjoyed this album. Hope you find this review helpful. Please like this video, share it, subscribe to the channel, do all the things to help me blow this project up in 2022, and stay tuned throughout the week for more album reviews. We will see you next time on the Beat Sessions.